there's more. I gotta zoom in. That's a hard one. Anyway, we have a bunch of stories here. Breaking. Look who just was arrested in Atlanta. 3 people have been arrested in connection with the raging fire in Atlanta that took out the interstate. Fox News reports Atlanta, 3 people have been arrested in connection with the raging fire that collapsed a portion of the Interstate 85 a few miles north of downtown Atlanta, crippling a major traffic artery in the city already known for a dreadful rush hour congestion. Deputy Insurance Commissioner Jay Florence said Friday evening that Basil Elby faces charges of criminal damage to property, and Sophia Berner and Barry Thomas each were charged with criminal trespass. We believe they were together when the fire was set, and Elby is the one who set the fire, Florence told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Florence would not discuss how the fire was started or why, saying those details would be released as the investigation progresses. The fire broke out Thursday afternoon in an area used to store state-owned construction materials and equipment, sending flames and smoke high into the air. Dozens of firefighters battling the roaring blaze beneath the roadway moved safely out of harm's way. Amid telltale signs, the roadway was breaking apart from the intense heat. Unbelievable. Next story we have. Wow, check out what McCaskill's opposition to Gorsuch means for his nomination. Because Senator Claire McCaskill is opposing Judge Neil Gorsuch's nomination to the Supreme Court, it all but guarantees Republicans will need to use the nuclear option to put the honorable judge on the Supreme Court bench. Senator Claire McCaskill said she will join the Democrats' attempted filibuster of Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch and will not vote for him, making it almost certain that the Republicans will have to trigger the nuclear option to confirm President Trump's first Supreme Court nominee. The Missouri Democrat announced Friday in a post on Medium, faulting the nominee for a stunning lack of humanity. While I have to come to the conclusion that I can't support Neil Gorsuch for the Supreme Court, and I will vote no on the procedural vote and his confirmation, I remain very worried about our polarized politics and what the future will bring, since it will certainly have a Senate rule change that will usher in more extreme judges in the future, Ms. Caskill wrote in a post on Medium. She said the nomination of Gorsuch goes against the grain of Trump's promise to help working-class Americans because he is a judge who can't even see them. McCaskill also raised concerns about Gorsuch's refusal during his confirmation hearing to say how he viewed the constitutionally of campaign fundraising regulations, which were limited by the landmark case Citizens United by Federal Election Commission in 2010. Sometimes they make spelling mistakes and it throws a person reading off. Sorry about that. I cannot support Judge Gorsuch because of the study of his opinions reveal a rigid ideology that always puts the little guy under the boot of the corporation, she said, adding, I cannot and will not support a nominee that allows dark and dirty anonymous money to continue to flood unchecked into our elections. Wow, she's just throwing a bunch of garbage out. This woman is a piece of dirt. What makes McCaskill's opposition unique is that she's the first Democrat facing re-election next year in a state President Trump carried by double digits to come out against Gorsuch, a move which will likely force other on-the-fence Democrats to follow in her footsteps. But she doesn't care because really, she's very old, and that's what they do. They get the old people to do the dirty work because they know that they don't care anymore. The political, don't you see? McCain, Biden, they're all in their freaking late 70s, 80s. The political press is divided over what her no vote means, according to the Axios. Gorsuch just got the last no it needed so the Democrats can meet the vote threshold to filibuster his nomination. Republicans will now have to get rid of the 60-vote filibuster threshold for judges, or allow Gorsuch's nomination to fail, which they're not going to do. A less definite conclusion comes from the Hill, according to which no vote shrinks the pool of Democrats who have undecided or unclear positions on Gorsuch to 9. Gorsuch's nomination needs the backing of 8 Democrats or independents, along with 52 Republicans to break the filibuster. Only 2 Democrats have so far said that they will vote to end the filibuster of Gorsuch and support his final confirmation. According to the Hill, both of them, Senator Joe McKean and Heidi Heitkamp, represent states Trump won overwhelmingly in November. Meanwhile, Senate Leader Mitch McConnell has vowed that Gorsuch will be confirmed, as told colleagues to expect a vote to change the rules to lower the threshold for ending a filibuster to a simple majority, i.e. the nuclear option. As the Hill adds, to avoid a showdown over the rules, it now becomes crucial for Gorsuch to pick up the support of the 2 remaining undecided Democrats who face re-election next year in strongly pro-Trump states, Senator Jon Tester and Senator Joe Donnelly. We will be looking into that and following that to find out what these 2 men say. Next story. Veil has been lifted on massive spy agency that you've never heard of. Whoa. The National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, the NGA, allegedly does even more spying on Americans than the NSA. Wow. This is coming out of an article from the Anti-Media. If you're one of the countless Americans who was distraught to learn that the revelations made by former National Security Agency NSA contractor Edward Snowden, the mere idea that there might be yet another agency out there, perhaps just as powerful and more intrusive, should give you goosebumps. Foreign Policy reports that National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, what we'll just say NGA from now on, is an obscure spy agency former President Barack Obama had a hard time wrapping his mind around back in 2009. But as the president grew fond of drone warfare, finding a way to launch wars without having to go through Congress for proper authorization, the NGA also became more relevant. Now President Donald Trump expected to further explore the multi-billion-dollar surveillance network. Like the Central Intelligence Agency, the National Security Agency, NSA, and NGA is the intelligence agency, but it also serves as a combat support institution that functions under the U.S. Department of Defense, DoD. With headquarters bigger than the CIA, the buildings cost $1.4 billion to complete in 2011, and in 2016, the NGA bought an extra 99 acres in St. Louis, building additional structures that cost taxpayers an extra $175 billion. Enjoying an extra budget Obama threw at them, the NGA became one of the most obscure intelligence agencies precisely because it relies on the work of drones. As a body of government that only has one task, to analyze images and video captures by drones in the Middle East, the NGA is mighty powerful. So why haven't we heard of it before? You see how this ad is written correctly and I read it much differently? The shadow agency that sees it all, prior to Trump's inauguration, the NGA, only targeted the Middle East or whatever spy satellites orbiting the globe captured. As far as most of us knew, the agency refrained from pointing its ultra-high resolution cameras towards the United States. That's only maybe why the NGA has been able to stay out of scandals for the most part. But under Trump, this may look much worse, as if spying on countless people abroad weren't enough. Recently, for instance, he gave the CIA the power to wage covert drone warfare, shielding important information on such operations simply by allowing the agency to carry out missions without first seeking authorization from the Pentagon. That's bad, folks. And finally, President Trump just called out Chuck Todd and Obama. He tweeted them simply this morning. When will sleepy-eyed Chuck Todd and NBC News